Before we begin, a brief note to everyone in attendance. If you are concerned about the WNBA's future, now is the moment to continue to be involved. Sign up for the channel, activate notifications, and let us know where you stand on the key in the comments. Problems. Should the WNBA and the league agree to a brief extension to maintain negotiating or set a firm boundary and risk a halt to work? Are you in favor of a model of revenue sharing or a growth-based compensation scheme? Your viewpoint is important, and it keeps this discussion centered on facts and answers. What we know is as follows. Several sources such as Alexa on ESPN, according to Filippo, the WNBA, Kathy Engelbert, a commissioner, has proposed a 30-day extension for the players to maintain the collective bargaining agreement. Discussions after October 31st. Due date. The runway is brief, and it arrives at a time when the outcome could not be greater. Without a prolongation or a new CBA, the league is going through a phase of significant ambiguity that might have an impact. Free agency, scheduling, and if discussions delay for some months the feasibility of the WNBA season in 2026. Just the timing reveals the narrative. During previous cycles of negotiating, extensions of 60 days have been utilized to make room, reduce the temperature, and resolve any lingering issues. A 30-day offer conveys a sense of urgency. Additionally, it highlights the distance between the sides. Stay focused on income and other high-ticket issues, player mobility, dispersion, and requirements pertaining to transportation, amenities, and league openness. The WNBA, as well as deadlocks, have been acknowledged by the WNBPA in earlier conversations. This round doesn't seem too simpler, despite the league's position on a increase in interest brought on by a fresh star generation. Another layer intensifying these discussions. Caitlin Clark denied allegations in public. She was included in the private CBA conversations, which contradict earlier recommendations that she had participated in dialogues behind the scenes. Whether that was a miscommunication or a mistake in communications, the result is the same. It heightened inquiries regarding internal correspondence, representation, and faith. At a time when one of the most she claims to have learnt about visible players' advancements only when they turn become, it makes people wonder. In high-stakes conversations like these, even minor fault lines can form from fissures. There is a noticeable difference from 2019. The final, a significant CBA reset occurred in a very distinct media landscape. There was no effect of Clark, no post-call phenomenon, attracting millions of casual admirers to WNBA broadcasts. Now, fast forward to the present, and your marquee viewership is at an all-time high. Competitions, impressive finals results, and sold-out arenas throughout several markets, and a flurry that has become widely accepted sports culture. The momentum is an asset, but it increases pressure as well. A strike or lockout would eat into hard-won benefits and runs the danger of losing a fresh audience that requires regular programming, distinct plots, and celebrities on the court rather than news reports from a boardroom. Let's be explicit on the calendar. The deadline of October 31st was. The 2026 WNBA will never have a finish line season, but this checkpoint is crucial. In the absence of an extension, the contract can expire. Both parties may enter a era of status quo. In the period, either side could declare its plans to start a cessation of work, owners through a players through a strike and lockout. There's a practical horizon as well. By March of, the league and teams will require sufficient assurance to complete activities for the season, which normally begins in May or April. Stated differently, the window is limited for extended uncertainty. If, by late winter 2026, there won't be any path, becomes seriously endangered, the financial, are prominent players in the WNBA via the WNBPA have advocated for forms of compensation that are more directly represent sponsorship and league revenue, expansion and the value of media rights. In the NBA, guaranteed money is available in addition to advanced revenue sharing as well as a far more extensive media environment. WNBA. Athletes can see where they're going. Team attendance, ratings, and valuations rising, and they desire it. To move with it, pay. Commissioner. Sustainability has been emphasized by Engelbert, and expansion, indicating a desire for a structure of compensation linked to long-term growth as opposed to a rigid revenue split model right away. It's an ideological gap as great as a monetary one, and it is central to of the impasse that is in place now. Additionally, we ought to recognize the larger context. The NBA has been overseeing a well-known betting this year's integrity tale, and there have been reports of increased attention among the larger basketball community, including conversations regarding injuries, reporting requirements. Independent reporting has seen that NBA Commissioner Adam Silver was scheduled to have a meeting with experts on the integrity of betting during the same period as the WNBA's due date. Although these are different problems, any increase in regulation, leadership can be absorbed by attentiveness, bandwidth, but that doesn't excuse anyone from completing a WNBA contract. It's just highlights the reasons why the general climate is tight and packed with rivals. Priorities. In the meanwhile, player leverage has changed. New endeavors like an unmatched winter league that was co-founded by Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart and other initiatives have produced substitute chances while the WNBA is off season. A few athletes have declared dedication to these platforms. Regarding the unity, the presence of reliable negotiation can be strengthened by alternatives. Posture. If the WNBA takes a break, elite players still has competition and earning venues. That dynamic for the league is both a challenge as well as a dose of reality to maintain, starring at the heart of the WNBA narrative. The league must respond to the situation with a strong economic and competitive proposal, the flair that is most sensitive. The public discussion's focal point has been the role of Caitlin Clark and the pressure that is a part of it. Within a year, the Indiana Fever Guard is now in the WNBA's viewership curve, attracting nationwide windows, increasing traffic on the roads, and bringing millions of admirers to the league's output. Her second season was ready to quicken that trajectory. The thought of losing it, degree of momentum, particularly following a rookie campaign that unveiled new viewers to competitors, contests, and the level of play quality is intimidating. This isn't regarding a single person holding a league, and that's not the right way to frame it. However, it is realizing that stars are what drive expansion in all sports as well as structural. That growth is at risk due to uncertainty. If, as you browse social media, the response to the offer of a 30-day extension was divided broadly, well-known lines, a few admirers and commentators contend that the league ought to have aimed for a 60-day period, referencing previous, the necessity of breathing space. Others observe a brief extension as a beneficial forcing function. Make sure everyone is at the table, clear the air, and establish a shorter milestone to provide concrete advancement. On the side of the player, there's a reasonable hesitation to sign any extension with a purely aesthetic vibe. There's a sentiment expressed both publicly and privately that additional time is only beneficial if it comes with significant progress on fundamental demands. If not, A brief extension is simply more calendar without greater dedication. Additionally, there is the issue of public messaging between the WNBPA and the WNBA. Both of the ST positions facing the microphones and cameras. That's typical in negotiations with big stakes. However, the number of incisive remarks made throughout the past 2 weeks have made reading more difficult. Signals. Unions feel ignored when they go public. When leagues experience having been misrepresented, they go public. The outcome is a quotation war that can obfuscate rather than clarify. The danger is that both sides become more rigid. Stories as well as the room for compromise narrows in front of partners, fans, and journalists who require assurance to make their investing plans for 2026. If you're searching for a way out, it probably passes through several pillars. Initially, a structure for revenue that connects players, reimbursement for distinct growth indicators, sponsorship renewals and media rights, attendance bans and thresholds so both sides exchange benefits and comprehend the runway. Second, specific enhancements can have an immediate impact on the athlete experience. Long-term travel standards, transports, health and performance, resources development during the off-season, and family assistance. Third, a communications small enough to avoid spilling turning a disagreement into a headline. Those aren't obvious. They are the components of long-term growth ecosystem that contributes to the WNBA's more predictable and investable. It's worth distinguishing between what is known and what has been conjectured. There have been several of assertions regarding who said what to whom and who was present or absent. According to Caitlin Clark's public statements, she wasn't discussed in private CBA meetings. That the statement is on file. A representative of the Players Association previously suggested major players were involved. These lines are now examined closely. The appropriate method for managing that the purpose of a professional setting is to clarify, adjust, and synchronize in private, then give a cohesive update to the general public. Allowing it to do so is incorrect. Faster. Trust is the foundation of successful negotiations. Without it, they crumble. A few spectators have questioned if Adam Silver's most recent